Hard times are coming. Now is not the time to get lax with your prepping. Hey everyone, I'm Jara with Wicked Prepared. Welcome back to our channel. If it's your first time watching us, go ahead and click the subscribe button. We'd love to have you as part of our little community as it grows. Today I'm sharing another prepper pantry haul with you. People like watching these videos, and for myself, I like thinking that maybe it'll be a little bit of a reminder to some of you who are already prepping, and to some of you who may not have started. I hope it serves as an inspiration and maybe an impetus to get started. I honestly can't believe there are still people out there who don't see the importance of preparedness, that there are people who don't feel the sense of urgency that the rest of us feel. With everything we've been through in the last year and a half and everything that we can see coming down the road, the things that are happening right now, it's more important than ever to be prepared. It's important to keep prepping a little bit every month, a little bit every week, over time. Preparedness is a journey. And that's really what separates prepping from panic buying and hoarding. There's a famous saying, when disaster strikes, the time to prepare has passed. And that is so true. That is why we prepare now, little by little. Whatever that may be for you, whatever you're capable of, whether it's just throwing an extra couple of cans of food, an extra couple of packages of pasta or rice in the grocery cart when you go shopping, or whether it's setting aside an extra $20 or $25 a week to make a monthly freeze-dried food purchase, whatever you can do, you will be more prepared tomorrow than you were today. I can guarantee you, you will never regret buying food. As long as you follow one of the most basic rules of prepping, store what you eat and eat what you store. If you follow this basic rule, you will never regret buying food. There are so many upsides to being prepared, besides just being prepared for emergencies. It's really nice never running out of things because you always have extra. It can save you money because you can be in control of when and how you buy things. So prep with a plan and a purpose. It'll take a little bit of extra effort to make sure that you stay organized, you know what you have, and you rotate your stock. And if you do this, you will never regret buying food. Enough talking, let's get into it and see what I bought this week. Here is just an overview of what we've got adding to our preps this week. Let's start with what I have picked up for canning supplies. I was finally able to get some lids. I did find regular mouth lids and wide mouth lids with bands. That's kind of par for the course for how I've been able to find them, if I found them at all. I did treat myself to a new canning funnel. I do have an abundance of regular canning funnels, but I really liked this one because it can measure the headspace for you right on the funnel. And then this little collar that it has, which also measures the headspace, but it'll keep it, and you can set it on the counter and it'll keep the dirty part off of the counter and keep your funnel part clean, the part that's going to touch your jars. So I did treat myself to that. I'll still use all of my regular funnels because I use those for the meals in a jar that I make with freeze-dried food, and those don't really need any type of headspace because they're not pressure canned. So besides that, I got 3 of these cases of half-pint jars. Now these are so cute. I had seen these at my store several times and just sort of overlooked them and ignored them, and I was not interested in them. And then I bought a lot of used canning jars from someone, and I ended up with one of these. Look how cute this is. This is what they look like. I thought that was so cute, so all of a sudden I decided I wanted some more. I have no idea what I'm going to use them for yet, but they're just a fancy little half pint, and these are just 4 jars per case, so I grabbed 3 cases of those when I saw them at the store. I did get 4 more cases of these 1.5 pint jars. These have been a lot harder to come by than the regular size of jars. I know in the beginning of the spring I was madly hunting for just 1 case of these, and now I'm probably up to at least 15 cases that I've been able to find. I'm a little obsessed. And besides that, I grabbed a couple cases of regular wide mouth pints, and that's just basically to replace, because I've used quite a few of those doing some canning in the last week or so. And then some regular wide mouth half pints. Now I know that canning jars are reusable. You really don't have to replace them as you use them, because once you've used the contents and washed the jars, you can use the jars again. But I do like to stay a little bit ahead of it, so I can't help but trying to replace the jars that I've used. And another thing is, this year I've had a lot easier time finding jars than I have finding lids. So I find that sometimes even when I'm using some of my older jars, I am taking lids off of the new jars that I've bought because I couldn't find lids. So next we've got some vegetables. I grabbed 3 of these jars of marinated artichoke hearts from our BJ's, which is just like a Sam's Club or a Costco. And these are really big jars. These are 34-ounce jars. So they're really huge. But I love these and I would not ever want to be without these. So I try to keep stocked up on them. I have a very favorite recipe that is basically that food that if I could eat one thing and nothing else the rest of my life, that would be it. And it uses these marinated artichoke hearts, so I want to make sure I don't ever run out of those. I also grabbed a few cases of just basic veggies, the basic canned veggies that we use. I got peas, corn, and green beans in the regular size can, and then I grabbed a case of the family size cans of the green beans because I figured I'd just focus on one vegetable at a time for the family size cans. Because whatever size of can I open up just depends on what I'm doing with them or how many people are eating that night at the house. And this is where I'll store these large cans right on my rotating can rack. So after that, I have got a whole bunch of seasonings. Now a lot of this I just ran into a really good deal because our Walmart was actually 2 Walmarts, probably all Walmarts, were clearancing out this section with the sauce mixes. So they had these things marked way down. So I got all of these anywhere from 25 cents to just over $1, depending on what it was. So got a bunch of these stir fry seasonings. Those were 25 cents. Some of these were a little bit over $1, but this is everything you need, sauce and seasonings for coconut curry chicken, marinara sauce and Alfredo sauce. I didn't get a ton of those because they weren't that cheap, and they also need a lot of additional ingredients. If it's not a just add water mix, then it doesn't appeal to me that much for stocking up. Brown gravy, I use a lot of brown. This wasn't even on clearance, but they were only 30 cents a packet, so I grabbed a bunch of these. This complete meal seasonings were marked really cheap. I think they were maybe $1, so I got a bunch of those. These were also not on clearance. These were at Save-A-Lot, but I'd never found a cheap no-name brand version of Italian salad dressing mix. So I grabbed these because I do use these not for making dressing, but I use them for seasoning different recipes. So I grabbed a bunch of these just because they were cheap. And I just store all my mixes, all my pouches like this in one of these containers. All these sorts of pouches, and it has a lid. So I can keep them in containers like this, and I just stack them on the shelf in the pantry. And onion soup mix, I use a lot of this in recipes. So this is just a couple boxes to replace what I have used lately. Creamy garlic Alfredo sauce. I liked that these didn't require a whole lot of additional ingredients. You do need milk and butter, but in a pinch I could use my Thrive milk and butter powder if I needed to make this. And we do love Alfredo sauce, and this looked really good, and it was marked down pretty cheap. So I bought a whole bunch of these. Now this right here, this is a case, and this is from my Amazon Subscribe and Save, and I have not opened this case, and I won't open this case, but this is basically what is inside of it. I'll show you this. I have this, just pulled this out of the recycling because I just used this in a recipe the other night. This savory herb with garlic, Lipton Recipe Secrets. I love this stuff. I have a favorite recipe that uses this as an ingredient, and I have had a hard time sometimes finding this. So once I found cases of it on Amazon, I added it to my Subscribe and Save, and I am stockpiling it because it's a really great seasoning and I don't ever want to run out, especially if they were to stop making it. Now we've got some canned goods. We've got chili. I grabbed 6 of each, chili with beans and no beans. Now here's an important thing I wanted to point out if you're shopping Walmart, because these are obviously great value. So these are Walmart. You need to check their online prices versus the prices in your store, because they can be pretty different, and they will match. They'll price match their online price in the store if you ask them to. But these chili were a really good example because these were about a quarter, about 25 cents more in my store than they were online. Like the chili with beans was 94 cents online, and it was, I think, $1.20 something in my store. And the chili with no beans was close to $1.50 in my store, and it was $1.20 something online. So buying a dozen cans, that really made a difference. So I had them price match that for me. So always keep an eye out on that when you're shopping at Walmart. I also got a case, and these are big double cases. These are 24 cans, cream of mushroom and cream of chicken. I use a lot of that in cooking. So I do have quite a bit, but I just felt like I wanted to stock up on a little bit more. And I did grab this was 6 cans of the French onion soup, but I used 3 of them in a recipe that I canned up. So I've only got 3 left to put into storage, but I did add a case of this, a 12-pack, to my next Amazon subscribe and save, so I'll have some more of that. And here we've got a couple of evaporated milks, and this was just replacing some that I used out of the pantry. So I do have a system that I like to use if I'm trying to stock up on something without spending a whole bunch all at once. If I use one, I'll replace it with 2. So I used 1 evaporated milk and I replaced it with 2 cans. These Keystone meats, I grab these either walmart.com or amazon.com because you got to watch the price on these. For the last year and a half, they've been, in and out of stock, and sometimes you find other sellers that are selling them for really high prices. So around $6 or $7 a can. Watch that you don't pay more than that. These are big cans. These are 28-ounce cans. Pulled pork, and this one's turkey. They also have chicken, ground beef. I think they have a shredded beef. I just get whatever I can find available. Just a can or 2 whenever I can to add to our supplies. Here we've got, let's see, these kippers. I have never tried these actually, and there's a lady on YouTube who I keep hearing her talk about these kippers, and I figured I should give them a try because they do have, the healthy fats that some fish have in it. So these would be really great to have in your food storage for times of emergency. The clams, I love those. I eat those quite a bit, and this is just replacing a can that I ate out of the pantry. And then we did get a few other meats just from Walmart. This is their Walmart's version of Spam, and this is about $2 a can, and this is really good. I don't even know if I've ever had regular Spam. I've only tried this version, and I really like it, so we buy this. I grabbed a couple of corned beefs to add to our supplies, to a couple more meats. I did get a couple of these chicken broths. These are actually from the dollar store. I do not stock a whole lot of broth in our long-term food storage because it just takes up a lot of space. You'd rather use bouillon where you can make your own broth. It takes up a lot less space and lasts a lot longer, but I do use broth sometimes in cooking, so I do keep it in our short-term pantry. So this is just a couple more cartons for the short-term pantry. Now we've got these 2 jars of instant coffee. Now, instant coffee would not be my first choice for making a cup of coffee, but it's really good. It's good for storing. It stores a long time, and we do use it. We use it to make iced coffee because I like to make a practice of using everything that we store to make sure that it's going to get rotated and not just forgotten about and go bad. So this is 2 jars of instant coffee that I grabbed to replace a jar that I just used up making iced coffees. Now we have all this spaghetti pasta. Now I keep my spaghetti, I have always mixed my pastas for as long as I can remember because I used to just give my kids and use the whole grain pasta, and then they came out with all these different versions like the Smart Taste, and they have a Protein Plus, they have the veggie, all these different versions, and I could not decide which one I thought was healthier. So what I started doing was mixing them all. I mixed them in with the 100% whole grain and all these other types of pasta. So I have a container. This is the container that I keep my spaghetti in. It's an old Rubbermaid container. You can see there's just a little bit of spaghetti left in it. So it needs to be refilled, and when I went into the pantry, I found that I had plenty of the whole grain spaghetti, and I had the Protein Plus spaghetti, but what I did not have was the Smart Taste and the veggie. So I picked these up so that I can refill my spaghetti container. And then these are the spaghettis, and then over here I've got rotini, and that was just because I noticed that the veggie pastas are usually quite a bit more than the store brand, you know, regular pastas, but these were only 94 cents a box. So I figured, I think they're usually a lot more than that, so I grabbed all that they had of the veggie rotini also. Now this is where I keep my other pastas besides spaghetti. This is up on top of my fridge and my fridge freezer. So I've got quite a few of these. I also do keep, that's mashed potato flakes and oatmeal, old-fashioned oats and quick oats I keep in these containers also. But there's about, I think there's 6 or 7 containers at least of pasta, and I can get at least 7 or 8 pounds of pasta in these when I refill them. So I mean, that means there's got to be close to 50 pounds of pasta up there when they're all filled up, and that's just what we have in the kitchen for our everyday use. So after the pasta, we've got, this is just another thing from my Amazon Subscribe and Save this month. These are seasonal sampler. We had a few people in the house that were sick a while back, and I really wished that I had some more teas. So I grabbed this. It's a 6-pack of the sampler. It has the Gypsy Cold Care, Throat Coat, Echinacea Plus, and Breathe Easy teas. So this is 6 boxes of tea that should keep us through the next time everybody is sick, which hopefully won't be for a while. And then these ramen cups, cheddar cheese ramen cups, the only reason I did not get a full case is because they did not have a full case. This is all they had at the store. So I do stock, I know ramen is not the healthiest thing, but it's something that keeps for quite a while, and it's really easy to just put together something really quick. If you need something that's going to fill bellies, it's comforting. My kids really like this cheddar cheese flavor because it doesn't have the veggie bits in it that most of them have. And to me, it's sort of like making mac and cheese in a way, but a lot easier. So we do keep these on hand, and we also bring them camping when we go camping because it's easy if somebody wants a quick snack to just boil up some water and make a ramen cup. So we are going camping soon, so I figured I should get some more of these because I know we'll use some. Under here, we've got, let's see, a bag of rice. This is just a big 20-pound bag of rice, plain white rice. Yes, I know that brown rice is a lot healthier than white rice, and I do store plenty of brown rice, but white rice will store a lot longer than brown rice because it has less, the brown rice has more oils, and so it's going to go rancid a lot more quickly. So just adding to the food storage, I grabbed a bag, a 20-pound bag of the white rice. White rice is a great meal stretcher. If you cook up a pot of white rice, you can open up a can of chili, open up a can of chunky soup, anything like that, pour it over the top of the rice, and you're going to have a bigger, more substantial meal. You're going to be able to feed more people. You could also cook up some rice, and you could mix it with, you know, any of those cans of veggies that we had over there. Grab a couple eggs from the chickens in the backyard, a little soy sauce, which we always have plenty of. You don't even need any meat. You'd have a delicious fried rice dinner. Next, we've got seasonings. I did stock up on several different types of seasonings that we use a lot of that I like to keep on hand. This is actually an au jus gravy mix, and it's a lot cheaper to buy this big jug than to buy the little packets. And I do use that in recipes. I have some meal in a jar recipes that I'm going to use that in. I use it when I make a Mississippi roast, you know, so I like to buy a big jug of gravy mixes if I can and measure it out rather than using the individual packets. This is Spike seasoning. This is a 5-pound jug of this. I've never bought this big jug before, but I do use quite a bit of this. It's like an all-natural seasoning. It's really delicious, and so I decided to buy a really big. It's a lot cheaper, you know, in the long run to buy this big jug and refill my small container. I grabbed a thing of sage because I knew that I just needed a little more sage. This is Mexican oregano. I grabbed a jerk seasoning because I just didn't have any of this, and I have some recipes that call for this, so I grabbed a big jerk seasoning. This Weber Kickin' Chicken, this is one of our favorite seasonings. We like this on chicken, we put it on pork chops, we put it on a whole bunch of stuff. It's kind of got a little bit of spiciness to it. We really like it, and we were starting to run low, so I figured I'd grab a big one because that's another seasoning that I would not like to run out of. You don't think of seasonings as something that you really need to survive, but don't overlook the seasonings because you're not going to want to eat the same thing over and over again, or very bland food, rice, beans, vegetables. You're going to want to add some seasoning to it to avoid food fatigue. So besides the seasoning, we've got some condiments. This is another thing from my Amazon Subscribe and Save this month. This is no sugar added ketchup. That's just for me. But it was cheapest to buy it in a 6-pack rather than buying individual bottles anywhere that I checked. So we've got that. I did grab 4 more bottles of barbecue sauce that we like because we use a lot of that. Didn't want to run out of that. I grabbed only one of these ketchups because it's the only one that they had, but I do get this ketchup at the Dollar Tree whenever I can find it for the rest of the family because it's one of the cheapest ways that I've found to buy ketchup. It's a really big jug for $1. So we use those. I did grab 4 of these syrups. This is a bigger jug. This is twice as big as the one that I usually get at my store. That's why they've got tape on the top of them. I did have to order these from Walmart.com because my store does not stock this big jug of pancake syrup. But pancakes are a great meal option in an emergency. If you grab the Just Add Water pancake mix, which we have quite a lot of in our storage, you could make a meal with just water, pancakes, syrup. That's going to fill bellies and make people happy. Now the final canned item that we got in this stock up is this right here. This is another Amazon item. A case of this Taco Complete. These are cans, just regular size cans. They must be, it says 13.5-ounce cans. And it is taco meat filling. This is a case of 6 cans. I had never seen this before and I just wanted to give it a try. I read the reviews. It got mixed reviews. Apparently it's got some meat and it also has things like beans and corn in it, and it's pretty saucy. Some people liked it and some people were disappointed because they were just expecting pure meat. I just thought it would be interesting to try because it could be really handy to have in the pantry if we like it. And if worse comes to worse, I think I can just throw it into a taco bake or some kind of a Tex-Mex casserole and we'll eat it up. Next, these are just a few books that I picked up to add to our reference base and our knowledge base because try to keep in mind that in an emergency you're not going to have Google and the internet, so anything that you would typically run to Google for, run to Pinterest for, you are going to need to have in a written form. So this is a really great book that everyone should have in their arsenal. The Survival Medicine Handbook, the essential guide for when medical help is not on the way. This is a great book. I think I bought this used because it's pretty expensive otherwise, but it came actually shrink wrapped in plastic even though it said used. So, and then this is a book we wanted to check out because we've heard a lot about this gardening method, Mittlider gardening course. We grabbed this and this is really got some great information in it. We've been perusing this. And then this, the complete guide to saving seeds, because in the case of a grid down emergency, if you are not able to purchase seeds for your garden every year, you're going to need to know how to save the seeds from your garden from year to year. And some of those are pretty straightforward. Obviously, we all know how to get the seeds out of a bell pepper or a cucumber or whatever, but some of them are a little bit more complicated, so I just wanted to have a reference for that. Now, I also got this big pack of Sterno Fuel. This is a 24-pack, and I found this at BJ's, which, like I said, that's like kind of like a Costco or a Sam's Club, so probably both of those stores would probably have a similar deal. This was, I believe it was 21 or 22, I think it was $21 for a 24-pack, which makes these less than $1 a can, which is really awesome for the name brand. I grabbed these couple of things of powder dishwashing detergent. This is the dishwashing detergent that we typically use, and this was just, I used up a box, I replaced it with 2 boxes. Now I should have at least 6 of these down in the basement, which means I should have at least a 6-month supply, because what I have done in the past is I have written the date on a box when I opened it and then checked that date when I finished the box, and it took me about a month to use up a box, which actually surprised me. I was really surprised that this lasted me a month, so I feel like I should probably do it a couple more times to make sure that that was accurate. But so I should have at least 6 of these in the cellar when I put these away. I like to try to keep at least a 6-month supply of any type of cleaning products on hand. I also grabbed regular dishwashing soap, hand dishwashing soap. Now, I despise doing dishes by hand. I do it as seldom as possible. However, if you are in a grid down emergency, obviously you're not going to be using your dishwasher if the grid is down. So you're going to need a lot more of the hand dishwashing soap. So with that being said, I added some more hand soap to our stash. Finally, I've got a couple of things of Biz here. I love Biz for stain removal mostly. I do use it in the laundry a little bit, but it's the best stain remover, along with, incidentally, some of that powdered dishwashing soap. And I grabbed also another big pack of the flushable wipes. This is something that we like to make sure we keep a lot of on hand, so I'm always grabbing another pack. And then finally, back here behind the Biz is one lonely bottle of canola oil, a big bottle of canola oil, because we don't have a whole lot of that on hand, so I thought we better add another big bottle of that. So that's the latest additions to our prepper pantry. What have you been stocking up on lately? Have you run into any shortages? We want to hear all about it, the good, the bad, everything, so let us know down in the comments. Give us a thumbs up if you enjoyed this video, and make sure to subscribe if you want to see more like this. Thanks for watching. I'm Jara with Wicked Prepared. Survive today, thrive tomorrow. We'll see you next time.